shall I do? I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Somebody calling my name. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Hush. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? I'm so glad I got my living in time. I'm so glad I got my living in time. I'm so glad I got my living in time. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Somebody calling my name. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Hush. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Soon one morning, death come creeping in my room. Soon one morning, death come creeping in my room. Soon one morning, death come creeping in my room. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Somebody calling my name. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Hush. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Hush. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Hush. Hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Hush. Hush.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Ros Woodward, and I'm a member of our Worship Associate team, a team of lay FUS ministers that assist our ministers with services. Today, I'm joined by Reverend Kelly Crocker and the worship team of Linda Warren, Drew Collins, Daniel Carnes, Steve Gregorius, and the members of our Meeting House Chorus. Special thanks to all those volunteering in many roles today: greeters, ushers, hospitality providers, lay ministers, and sound technicians. At the First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you're visiting us today, welcome. We're so very glad you're with us. If you'd like more information about the First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table located just outside to the left in the Commons. And we hope you'll be able to stay and join us for coffee immediately after the service, also outside in the Commons. For those connecting virtually with us today, we're glad you're with us. And we hope that you will be able to take a moment and watch the announcement slides after today's service and learn more about the upcoming programs and activities. During today's fellowship, our 7th grade Compass Points kids will be surveying the congregation regarding their beliefs about God. Please take a moment to complete their survey and return it to them. They'll have a table set up in the Commons. These surveys help our youth to understand that we do have diversity of thought here and that we welcome many perspectives. Autumn Fest, our annual fundraiser auction, an incredibly fun day, is coming up next weekend. That's Saturday, October the 26th. You can now buy tickets online at fusmadison.org/autumnfest. You can also find more information there about donating to the auction, all the activities that will be happening that day, and how you can help if you'd like to make that day happen. Cheryl, our stewardship director, is in the Commons today and would love to speak to you about the Autumn Fest. And the weekend of November the 2nd and 3rd will be our annual honoring of All Souls. During these services, we honor all the FUS members who died in the past year. If you have loved ones who've passed this year that you'd like to remember during the services, please email Kelly C. with their name. And now, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence to center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time as we join together once again in community.
We gather to celebrate the invisible powers that sustain us, the very air we breathe which fires our bodies to life, the wind moving the trees and the waters on the face of the deep, the warmth of day and the cool of night which comfort our bodies, the power of grass in spring, the mystery of turning leaves in autumn. For this and more are we grateful.
Most of all, we give thanks for the invisible powers of human relationships, the love we share, the caring we do, the efforts we make for others and they make for us, the thrill of new experience and the joy of remembrance, the delight of passion and compassion, the exquisite hurt of suffering and sorrow, reminding us of our common humanity, the joy of gathering in this place and with these people.
For these and all the invisible powers that sustain us, we lift our voices in praise as we join together in worship. And we invite you to rise in all the ways we do and join together in our words of affirmation as we light our chalice. The flame of our chalice is quiet, but not quite silent. In a still room, up close enough, some ears might hear it burn. The stirrings of conscience are quiet, but not quite silent. With patience and effort, caring hearts can feel their pull. Whether or not we hear this flame, may our hearts be moved to compassionate action. And before we join together in song, we invite you to take a moment and greet those around you.
Greetings, greetings.
And now I invite you to join with me in singing our opening hymn, number 20, Be Thou My Vision.
And I invite anyone who would like to come up closer for our story to come on up. Good morning. How's your morning? Good? Is it good morning? Cleo, get a thumbs up. Did you get outside yesterday?
Would you like to see something?
Would I like to see something? Oh, ouch. What happened?
I fell on the stairs. Although it was a lot worse.
Yeah, it's getting better. It's healing. Good morning, good morning. Hi, everybody. Thea scooting in. Hi, everybody. So you may have heard in the announcements that the Compass Points class are 7th graders. Do we have any of them with us? Compass Points, where are you? There's one. A reluctant hand goes up. They are going to do a poll after service today on what do you believe about God. And I'm really glad that they are doing that poll today because I have a story with that same question. So once there was a child who wanted to learn everything they could about God. So they decided to go to every house in their village and knock on the door. And when the person answered, they would say to them, "What is God?" So before I tell you what they learned, do you have any answers to that question? What would you say? Yeah. A spirit? I like it. Cleo? Tiny particles. I know. It's kind of that thing where someone says to me something about quarks. I have a kid who's all about quarks, and I just kind of go, that is a mystery I will never understand. Anybody else? How about those of you in chairs? What is God? Yell it out. I know some of you have ideas. Love.
The answer to the question that we normally can't answer.
The answer to the question that we normally can't answer. Mystery. Nature. See, us. We've got answers to this question, so please take that poll today so the Compass Points kids can see that. So the child returned home, and their mother could see that they had lots of ideas going around and around in their head. So she said, "Tell me what you learned." And the child said, "Well, I learned," some said God is in the air, others said God is in the water, somebody said trees, somebody else said stones. One person told me they hear the whisper of God in the wind, and it took them 95 years to learn how to listen. Another said they see God in the face of their child. And another one, if you can believe it, said their dog. Someone said they found God when they were making art. And when they were painting, they felt this connection to something bigger. Somebody said light, somebody said dark. Many said they had no idea at all, but that they would try to feel it sometimes, especially if they were sad. "Wow," said the mom, "you learned so much." And then she reached behind her and pulled out this strange fruit. Is that a pomegranate? A wrinkled, somebody Saturday said, a wrinkled old apple? It's a pomegranate. You got it. So she it is edible, but I cut it yesterday and wrapped it up, so I'm not sure how edible is, but it is edible. So she cut it open, and she opened it up and said, "What do you see inside?"
Particles.
Seeds,
And
particles,
a
a pomegranate seeds,
Edible seed.
a star. Can you see the star in there? Seeds make sort of a star shape. All the beautiful seeds, they kind of glow like rubies a little bit. And what's inside a pomegranate seed? The ability to turn into a pomegranate tree. That's exactly right. Look at this. How many trees do you think could grow from this one pomegranate? 153 trees. That's pretty specific. 13, right? So I wish we could, it would be fun if we lived somewhere where we could grow a pomegranate and we could plant these outside and see what would happen. But that ability to grow into a tree, that's that power for growth and change with our eyes, but we know it's in there, just like it is in everything in the whole world. And that power to grow and change is in you too. So God is in the wind, and God is in the love of our friends, and yes, even in our pets, and in everything that reminds us of the goodness of life and the power to change and to grow. So remember that God is in you too. Thank you. That's our story today about our wrinkly apple pomegranate. We are going to sing you out to your classes. Have a great time.
sing together hymn number 1011 in the teal hymnal or on your screen, Return Again. We'll sing with all the repeats indicated, and we'll sing the entire thing twice.
This by Paula Darcy. I was traveling with a group of women in Alaska. We were in a small boat, gray waves parting at the bow, when I saw the first plume of spray. It took several seconds for me to understand what that meant, and by then, one of the women was already shouting to the others, "Whales!" The first sleek, lumbering humpback lifted slowly from the frigid waters like a single streak of grace. Back arched, his rubbery tonnage rose into the air, showers of spray splitting back onto the sea. I couldn't breathe. Then, just as gracefully, he lowered himself back into the brine, his tail fanned with the flourish of royalty. We never moved. It was a flower opening, a split in the ordinariness of things, that single tail lifting and offering itself to the morning. Then, slowly, with elegance, the great tail slipped from sight. The second rail was already rising. I kept hearing my voice, "Oh, my God, my God." We were all screaming, the 6 of us, the great gift of the whales, too enormous to take in silently. We had to make a sound. Our boat slowed until we were 30 feet away. We rocked gently in the water, watching. There were 3 of them. We heard the great slush of spray, followed by the enormity of their leaping. One after the other, rhythmically, they bounded from the deep. My mind was not possessed by a single thought. Nothing, Everything was the rise and fall of the whales. We called to them as we set out that morning. Please show yourselves, we'd each silently intoned. Come, life calling life, with nothing else intervening. And they came. It felt as if a mighty hand had put the whales in a bow and shot them into the thickness of our collective dream state, willing to see us. The mark of the arrow was true. It wasn't just the whales and their beautifulness, their leaping. In fact, it wasn't nearly that. It was the power to know us. It was God putting God into a bow in the form of a whale, responding to our silent plea, come. The moment struck universal marrow, speaking a language I dimly understood. The whales were voices arising from a fertile soil where the deepest knowledge lies waiting. They shouted to us, don't go back to sleep. This fullness is meant for you.
There was once a young boy lying in his bed, struggling with a terrible cold. His father arrived with a small gift in his hands, hoping to bring just a bit of joy to the suffering child. And the boy sat up, excited, unwrapped the present, and discovered within a compass. The boy marveled in astonishment at the compass and its needle, which seemed to magically move as if influenced by some hidden force. That young boy was Albert Einstein, and his encounter with that compass when he was 5 years old marked the beginning of an incredible lifelong journey to understand those unseen realities. We can almost imagine a young Einstein holding that compass in his hand, perhaps walking back and forth and watching the needle magically move in one direction and then another. How is that possible, he wondered. What is causing the needle to point in different directions as I carry the compass along? In later years, Einstein would recall this moment, watching that compass needle move, and say it was that moment which caused him to conclude that some force, some reality had to be behind all things. And the search for that mysterious force, which Einstein would come to call God, and which filled him with awe and wonder, that search became the defining quest of not only his scientific career, but also his spiritual life and journey. Now, if Einstein was with us today, and one of our Compass Points children asked him to take their "What do you believe about God?" poll, Einstein would tell them that he rejected the understanding of a personal God who was intimately concerned with our daily lives. We can get an insight into how he might answer in a response to a letter written to him by a young girl asking him, "Do scientists pray?" And his answer was, "Everyone who is seriously involved in the pursuit of science becomes convinced at some time that there is a spirit manifest in the laws of the universe, a spirit vastly superior to that of humankind, and one in the face of which we must feel very, very humble." Now, many of us have had these experiences of being faced with those laws of the universe that make us feel tiny in the face of their vastness and cause a sense of humility to come over us. For Paula Darcy, that was the experience of seeing those massive whales leaping out of the water. The moment struck universal marrow, she says. speaking a language I dimly understood. The wails were voices arising from a fertile soil where the deepest knowledge lies, waiting. They shouted to us, "Do not go back to sleep. This fullness is meant for you." Perhaps for you, it is watching the sun rise and colors dance across the sky. Maybe you saw the northern lights in recent days, and the wonder of how the sky could hold that many colors is still within you. Or waking in the middle of the night to wonder at the bright light and discovering that it is the most brilliant full moon that you have ever seen, and you feel the beam of it enter your being, and you suddenly feel radiant and filled with light. Or when you cook dinner and make bread to share with those you love, and you can feel the warmth of their presence filling you, do not go back to sleep. That fullness is meant for you. Now let's be honest for a minute. Talking about God and unseen forces and the holy is a somewhat tricky thing to do in Unitarian Universalist congregations. For here we have no one definition, no one answer to the question, what is God? I often think of one of my favorites from my late colleague Nancy Schaefer. Because she wanted everyone to feel included in her prayer, she said right at the beginning several names for the holy. Spirit, she said, Holy One, Mystery, God. But then thinking these weren't enough ways of addressing that which cannot fully be addressed, she added particularity, saying, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Ancient Holy One, Mystery we will not ever fully know, Gracious God, and also Spirit of this earth, God of Sarah, Gaia, Thou. And then, tongue loosened, she fell to naming superlatives as well. Most creative one, greatest source, closest hope. Even though superlatives for the sacred seemed to her probably redundant, but by then she couldn't stop. One who made the stars, she said, although she knew technically a number of those present didn't believe the stars had been made by anyone or anything, but just luckily happened. One who is an entire ocean of compassion, she said, and no one laughed. That which has been present since before the beginning, she said, and the room was silent. Then, although she hadn't imagined it this way, others began to offer names. Peace, said one. One my mother knew, said another. Ancestor, said a third. Wind, rain, breath, said one near the back. Refuge, that which holds all. A child said water. Someone said Kuan Yin. Then womb, witness, great kindness, great eagle, eternal stillness. And then there wasn't any need to say the things that she thought would be important to say. And everyone sat hushed until someone said, Amen. Growing up a religious child who delighted in ritual and religious observance, I believed that the best way to connect with that larger mystery was through prayer. And I knew all the different kinds of prayers: adoration, praise, thanksgiving, penitence, oblation, intercession, and petition. I thought of them as, you are great, you are the most wonderful, I am grateful, I am sorry, I give myself to you, help them, help me. All of these being ways of me speaking to the holy, trying to find the right words to say what needed to be said, learning the correct formulas to plead my case for what I thought was best. And then a few years ago, I heard the facilitators of our centering prayer group say, prayer is a time to listen. Time set aside to listen for what the Holy has to say to you, to listen to the mystery itself. I felt like they were saying these words directly to my rule-following 10-year-old self. And they were saying there are no words needed to connect to the holy, and often in the face of the greatest mysteries, there are no words. All you need to do is be still and listen. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, sure, this sounds lovely. There's definitely a mystery and an awe. I can sense it, but I don't even know if I believe there's anything to listen for, anything at all that I want to connect with. I offer you this poem from Barbara Peskin, The Atheist Prays. I am praying again. And how does one pray when unsure if anything hears? In the world I know as reliable and finite, when time and matter cycle back and forth, and I understand the answers to so many puzzles, there are moments when knowing is nothing and I, this accumulation of systems, histories, repetitions, falls from me. How does one who is sure there is nothing pray? I, dark gathered around my eyes, sit in this room cluttered with my certainties, asking my one unanswered question, holding myself perfectly still to listen, fixing my gaze just here, wondering. There are moments when knowing is nothing and all our certainties fall away. How do we find the courage to sit in the unknowing, to live with the very real knowledge that there is so much that we do not know? We can admit that we don't know what will happen later today. And maybe that is a level of certainty that we can hold. But when we acknowledge that we also don't know what will happen on November 5th, November 6th, November 7th, and the weeks after, we may find ourselves struggling mightily. How much uncertainty can we carry? Barbara doesn't tell us in her poem what her one unanswered question is. We have no idea what she is asking as she holds herself perfectly still. But I couple her poem in my head with this one from Angela Herrera. Beneath the hustle and bustle, beneath the stream of thoughts that clamors and chatters over the landscape of our interior world, beneath our habits of momentum and stirring, there is a stillness, deep and peaceful, the place where creation begins. Who lives there? Angela's question, who lives there? In the deepest part of your interior world. It reminds me of John Wesley, that great preacher and founder of Methodism, who was famous for asking, how is it with your soul? If I were to ask you that question right now, how is it with your soul? How would you answer? Think about the part of you that is most uniquely you, deeper than mind, more durable than will, holy, if you like that word, sacred, the essence of your identity, the place inside you that is radiant with knowing who you truly are. How is it, friends, with your soul? Barbara Brown Taylor writes of taking her students to field trips in a world religions class, which sounds an awful lot like our Building Bridges program. She says, when we visit the Vedanta Center for weekday Vespers, we join the Swami in a few simple verses, and then we sit quietly on our cushions for almost an hour, focusing all of our attention on listening to God instead of trying to get God to listen to us. This is the longest that some of us have ever intentionally remained silent, which means that it is also the first time some of us have found the entrance to the vast wilderness inside. Young people whose heads stay full of playlists, Spanish homework, Snapchat, DMs, play practice, parental advice, video games, cross-country, term papers, romantic sagas, choir, Xbox, debate team, baseball, and more, can start to hear the sound of their own heartbeats for the very first time. They had no idea there was so much space inside of them. No one ever taught them how to hold still long enough for the shy, dear soul inside of them to step into the clearing and speak. Now, years ago, the Madison Insight Society brought teacher Sharon Salzberg here to Madison. Over the course of a weekend of teachings and meditations, Sharon spoke the power of stillness, of what could happen when one is able, through whatever is happening, to find that still point inside and just be, to see what arises within the silence. And during a question and answer session, someone raised their hand and said, "Do you really believe that by sitting in silence that you're changing anything? Do you think that there's a power to all of this that works somehow in the world? If you send love to another person, will it change them?" And Sharon smiled and thought for a moment and then very slowly answered, "I hope it changes me." I don't think it matters if you're quieting yourself in the firm belief that Einstein's spirit made manifest in the laws of the universe will speak to you, or if you still yourself long enough to allow the shy, dear soul inside of you to show up. I think what matters is that you try and do it. Try and listen for the sound of your own heartbeat. See what happens. Try, because we live in a world filled with uncertainty and in a world that can be a very scary place. Try, because there are voices and forces that want to keep you afraid, that want to keep you unsettled and off-center, that want you to believe narratives of hate, that want you to be upset, that want you to be frozen in fear, that want you to be frozen. Fear is a destabilizing force and a very narrow place to be. And we cannot be thrown off course in this moment. In these times, the world needs our voices to counteract the fear, the hate, the misinformation, and the lies. We quiet ourselves and connect with our own voice, or with the holy of our understanding, or with the wonder of it all, because we need to hold on to what matters in the face of all that is. If we can go back to that young boy receiving a compass, we will learn an extraordinary thing. Einstein would later write that the more connected he felt to the harmony and the mystery of the cosmos, The more he listened to the holy, the more connection and compassion he felt for his fellow human beings. Einstein would say that the compass and the introduction to the larger sense of life brought him his true north and taught him how he wanted to live. He was a passionate advocate for human rights, for freedom of conscience and thought, for world peace. And Einstein's commitment to these values was part and parcel of his scientific and religious outlook. He believed that a set of physical laws and principles had produced the harmony and the beauty of the cosmos, and that a set of common ethical values and principles like freedom, peace, justice could create harmony and beauty within the human family. What is your true north? What is your commitment to the larger life? Here we commit ourselves to building a world fueled by love and justice. We commit to creating spaces where all are welcome, where feeling joy and seeing beauty are acts of resistance, where we say to each other, you belong here. You are good, you are worthy, exactly as you are. We quiet ourselves and connect with our own voice and the holy of our understanding and the humbling mystery, because we need to hold on to what matters in the face of all that is and in the face of whatever is to come. So I'll leave you with this prayer from Victoria Safford. May there be space today, tonight, in this moment or the next one, with this breath or the next, to still your frantic mind, to slow your racing heart, to center your scattered spirit, to remember what steadies you and anchor on something you love. Birdsong in the morning, coffee in the cup, laughter of the one you love, the dog at your side. Anchor on that which you love and rest there just a moment. Finding stillness, slowing down, centering your worried soul, anchoring on stars and moon and the sun that keeps on rising. May there be space. May you make holy space, some breathing room where all day long you felt there was room for nothing but fear. May there be space today, tonight, and beyond for listening, for remembering who you are, for what you love.
Voices burn, 'tis the ancestors' breath.
I invite you into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering, which supports the ongoing work of this community and the work of our outreach offering recipient. And this week's recipient is Freedom Inc., a Black and Southeast Asian nonprofit organization that works with low to no income communities of color. Their mission is to achieve social justice through coupling direct services with leadership development and community organizing that will bring about social, political, cultural, and economic change, resulting in the end of violence against women, gender nonconforming and transgender folks, and children within communities of color. There are multiple ways to share your gifts this morning. Baskets are now being passed here in the auditorium for cash and checks, or as you'll see on the screen behind me, that you can donate directly to our website, fusmadison.org. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
Each week, we gather, bringing in with us the cares, the joys, the losses of our days. We share them here, knowing they are held in love and in support. Today, we light a candle of welcome and celebration for the birth of Charles Michael, born on October 2nd. Charlie is the grandson of Barb Avery and the son of Andrew and Colleen, and we are so very glad that he is here. And I invite you now to turn with me into a moment of meditation and prayer with these words from Maureen Killeran. This prayer is for all who are fearful about the economy or the fate of our country, health care for yourself, for your children, for all whose heart aches at the injustices being done to others in our name, for all who fear for the survival of the planet, for all who fear whether they will be allowed to enter or to leave or to remain. We make this prayer for all who deal daily with failing health, difficult diagnoses, challenging treatments, or healthcare routines. For all who struggle with difficulties at school or work, for all who are facing hard decisions, for all who are living in challenging relationship. We make this prayer for ourselves, for all the fears and concerns, the joys, the celebrations. We make this prayer for the children, their future, the ever-blooming possibilities of the Spirit. We make this prayer to hold in our hearts all the precious blessings of our lives. We make this prayer not because we expect it to make the world turn or change, We make this prayer to remind ourselves of who we are, of what life is, and how important love can be. Blessed be, and amen.
And now I invite you to rise so we can sing together our closing hymn. It is number 1007 in the teal hymnal, There's a River Flowing in My Soul.
May we find the courage to revel in the experience of the mystery. May we approach the unknown with excitement, even if we can only muster a tiny bit. May we celebrate the curiosity that leads to searching. May we meet ourselves along the way and love us unapologetically. Blessed be, go in peace, and please be seated for the postlude.